it's time for IP in the news. And I guess I'm carrying the ball on it this week because we have an interesting topic. And the topic is, does artificial intelligence that creates artistic works, is that copyrightable? And should it be copyrightable?
Well, and what about the base? I think the whole lawsuit is about where does it get the data from to go into its database to allow it to create these in the first place?
Right. And so the case that we're talking about today is an class action suit that was started by an artist who had been posting her works on a website called DeviantArt for a long, long time. And so Kelly, her name was Kelly, had painted sort of these fantasy paintings. Fantasy art where people were all like different colors and everything. It's well, if you saw the paintings, if you went to her website, you would see just exactly what I'm talking about. But in any case, the website DeviantArt created an AI engine, and it would go through all of the paintings on their website. So this was sort of a gallery, and it would borrow from the paintings and create new paintings based on the data that was on their website. And so a lot of the paintings that the AI engine created were looking a lot like some of the more established artists.
But wait a minute. So Kelly was putting her paintings on there for free. DeviantArt wasn't paying her for her artistic creativity.
Right.
She was doing it for free. So now they're going to take what they got for free and make money off it.
Right. And that's part of it. So it was a really I guess a real blow to her, and she was very unhappy with what she saw. A lot of the paintings were very similar to hers, and deviant art and even some of the legal scholars are taking the position, well, this is not copyright infringement. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying it's an interesting problem, right? Because other artists borrow from other artists all the time. So what difference does it make whether it's an AI engine or just another person that borrows the ideas, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'll just go back to when we were doing having some artwork done for Gearhart Law. I asked one of our attorneys. I said, I found this online. Can if we change it some, can we use it? And she said no. She said you need to buy the photo and then you can change it a little bit, but if you even change it a little bit, it still belongs to them. It's still what they created. So no, that would be copyright infringement. So where is the line and they're bringing up fair use. So that means that unless you make it something radically new, that I don't know what is fair use.
Well, fair use is actually pretty tricky copyright doctrine that excuses some forms of copyright infringement. And so, without going into a lot of the details, it is really pretty much a case by case basis, and it depends on the level of copying, what it was copied for, whether it's whether it's done for profit. And so there's four factors that a court looks at when they're trying to determine that. But here is Andreas Gumadas, who's commenting. He says he's a legal scholar at the University of Sussex, and he gets different interpretation of what AI models are doing when they learn. He says the models are learning patterns from the original images and brushstrokes, and scripts. And these are things that cannot be covered by copyright, according to him. So he doesn't think that any of this work is really protected.
But I guess the other question I would have is what were the terms and conditions 20 years ago when she started uploading her artwork to this? Were the terms and conditions we can basically steal your artwork anytime we want and use it for anything we want? And if that's the case, then she doesn't have a case.
Yeah, I mean that's all good stuff. So anyway, it's time for Richard's Roundtable, and we've beat this horse to death, but we do have some other folks on the show today, Tim McConaughey. Welcome to the show, Tim. Why don't you give
Hey,
us?
thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. You're in the world of copyright based on your business, which is, uh, written creative works. Do you have any special thoughts on this case that we've been discussing?
First of all, I say push this one over to a great IEP attorney, which which we always say. So, I don't know the ins and outs, but I can tell you what we see in the publishing realm is we see that a lot of self-published authors they they believe that if something's out there that they can take it and they can use it, and that's something that I foresee is going to be a problem, especially with AI and what's coming down the pike of being able to track those images. So whenever we do anything with a cover designer or anything like that, we make sure that not only does the designer license that image or art, then they manipulate it, but we also do as well because we just want to make sure we're protected. It's not worth a fight. So pay them.
Well, I think that's a great process for your company, and I do recommend that if you're doing a lot of creative things, that you do get competent counsel involved to help you make those steps. Um, Jordan, welcome to the show. What are your opinions on this?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Looking forward to the discussion. I think it's going to be interesting, especially related to, we've all seen the rise in chat, GPT, and Google's now launching their own AI system. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of these types of lawsuits coming up in the future. So I think it's a very, especially relevant topic of conversation. I tend to lean more on the people side because sort of that's where I have grown the business and I know how hard it is to start something from scratch. So my sort of IP attorney perspective would be, hey, could this company have actually just gone to the artist at the beginning and said, hey, are you okay with we do this? I mean, odds are she would have said yes. She was already uploading the art for free, and we probably would have solved this whole thing off the bat. So I think in most cases, just having an upfront conversation with someone is probably the easiest way to answer a lot of these questions.
I agree 100%. It's like this whole do it and ask for forgiveness later. I'm not into that at all, right? Like I feel like they could have handled it much better as well if they'd spoken to her first.
Right. Or just communicated with all of the artists uploading, telling them what's going to happen, and they could opt in or opt out. I'm sure there's a lot of artists that would have opted in because, in a way, if there's other works out there that are similar to yours, maybe that helps promote your approach and your artwork. So maybe some people would see it as helpful. And other artists have, purer motives. They just want their work to be seen and known. But then and so maybe this would help them. But then there's other artists who really want to retain control of what the public sees and what they think of them. And so, in those cases, so again, I think, Jordan hit it right on the head when he said,
Right.
you'd really need to get permission, right? Which is at the end of the day, for most copyright issues, the solution to just about everything is just like get permission of the person that if you want to borrow. So
Kind of reminds me of a funny story in the law firm. So a tech person decided that they were going to redesign the homepage of the Gearhart Law website. And I didn't find out until I went to post a blog there and I freaked out.
it's completely different. Yeah.
Wait a minute, this is not what it's
All,
supposed to
all of
look
the
like.
yellows were orange and yeah.
Into detail. But let's just say we immediately I told Richard, he's like, change it back.
Yeah. So
So that didn't work.